Support comes from BECU, a member-owned credit union putting people over profit, offering financial services and support to the community with access to local financial centers, over 30,000 ATMs, and online resources at becu.org. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hey there, good morning. It's Patricia Murphy. It's Monday. This is Seattle Now. Life on the other side of the pandemic is coming into view, and some pandemic-inspired changes, like eating outside at your favorite restaurant, might stick around. In a minute, Seattle Times food writer Tan Vinh tells us what it takes to make it work. But first, let's get you caught up. State employees will have to swear they're vaccinated before going mask-free at work. The new guidance from Governor Inslee also gives employers the option to require employees to continue to mask up, regardless of vaccination status. Businesses have two options. They can use an honor system and assume that unmasked customers are vaxxed, or they can continue to require masks for all guests. Fully vaxxed Sounders fans got to pack into two special sections at Lumen Field to see the 1-1 draw with the Atlanta United Sunday. Fans with proof that they're 2 weeks past their final COVID-19 vaccine were given a special wristband. Wristband or not, everyone had to mask up outside of those special sections. And I know Seattle loves our backyard chickens, but resist getting too close to your hens. The CDC says there's a salmonella outbreak linked to backyard birds. It's grown to 163 confirmed cases in 43 states. 8 of those cases are here in Washington. Al fresco dining is sticking around for a while in Seattle, at least until May of next year. The City Council just renewed a program that lets restaurants seat customers outdoors for free.
My name is Camila Aguirre, and this is El Mousse.
Camila's restaurant, El Mousse, in Ballard, is one of the spots taking advantage of outdoor dining during the pandemic. On the sidewalk outside of her restaurant, she put up a wooden and airy structure. It has several tables spaced widely apart. Camila says being able to build this has helped a lot during a hard year.
We'll keep this alive as long as we can, as long as the city lets us.
Opening an outdoor dining area is just one of the many changes Camila has made to her restaurant during the pandemic. She says her willingness to pivot has helped her business survive.
That change is the best thing for me, right? To keep on changing, to go with the flow, to not get stuck on ideas or mind frames or menus or menu items or, right, like to adapt.
And despite a hard year, Camila is hopeful that customers are going to be coming back in big numbers this summer.
I feel like people are going to be out, and I think that Seattle is happy to have outdoor seating and that they're not as hermits as they thought.
We love to say we're introverts, but maybe the pandemic has changed things.
Stink eye, right? the freeze is still on, but it could be outdoors, right?
I wanted to know more about this, so I met up at El Mousse with Seattle Times food writer Tan Vinh.
Could I grab some chilaquiles?
We had lunch and talked about what more outdoor dining might mean for the city's restaurants.
Carne asada, pork.
Eggs, please.
Eggs. How do you like your eggs?
Over easy.
Tan, it is great to see you in person.
It's been over a year. We've been doing this over Zoom for 14 months, 15 months.
No, it's lovely to be out here in Ballard. We're here on the patio at El Mousse, and I am curious about the vision here because this is a rainy, wet, damp city in the winter. Are we really trying to change the culture here?
We certainly are, right? And they have always tried this for years and it has never panned out because, for one thing, real estate is tight here. You can only fit a few tables and chairs outside on the sidewalk. So does it make sense economically? For most people, it doesn't, because come fall and winter, it's too much trouble to fill up like 2 or 3 turns a day or something. So it doesn't pan out. But then, of course, the pandemic hit and you closed down indoor seating. So what are you going to do? You're going to dine outside, whether you like it or not, if you want to shed your cabin fever. And so that's where this comes into play, is has our culture, has our mentality changed with this pandemic? We're going to find out because summer's coming, patios are going to be packed, But come fall, when it gets breezy and you're wearing your hoodie, that's when it's going to be interesting. And that's when we're going to find out if people are in this for the long haul.
Summer is the season, right? Seattle is just a wonderful place to be in the summer. Is it possible? Did you dine in any of these places over the winter? Can you create that warmth in that space?
You know, I did feel warm in fall and winter. I mean, I'm kind of iffy about dining out, but if the space is empty, I would go early on the early end, and it was fine. It does not work for everybody in terms of the real estate, because sometimes getting food from a kitchen outside to the front, you're navigating through foot traffic like in Capitol Hill. It is not easy to do, and it does not make sense for everybody. And menu counts. And just from seeing this last summer, I'll give you an example. And you do not want a porterhouse, a big plate with a porterhouse steak and side of mash and bread, because these are modest setup, and it takes up so much real estate, a piece of steak, and you need elbow room to cut and everything. And so not all food are conducive to sidewalk dining in Seattle, and that's what people don't realize, and that's what restaurants are starting to realize. I'll give you an example. Last summer, Meat Barbecue on Capitol Hill. They will offer you a modest menu. It's like a happy hour menu. All you can get is like fries, burgers, and maybe some finger food outside. If you want to dine like the full menu, you have to go inside. And they were smart because they realized, oh, it's a long way from the kitchen to the outside. And Capitol Hill has a lot of foot traffic, and it's just a lot of hassle.
You know, that's kind of brilliant. I never even thought about that. Dining is so much more than just what's on your plate. It's about the way you can eat the food and the way you experience your food. And I'm curious, since you said that this doesn't work for every restaurant, how many businesses in Seattle are taking advantage of this sidewalk permit option right now?
About 200 have active permits. And what this Department of Transportation oversee this program predict is like next month, as we get into shorts and sandals weather, you're going to see a lot more. You're going to see a lot more. Because why not? If you have a business, hey, I have lawn chairs in the back. I'll put it on the sidewalk. I'll call it my patio. So that's going to work easily. And I would say, like, if you want to appreciate what a good server does, dine out with all these sidewalk patios. You really notice a difference, because these sidewalk patios are not really conducive to outdoor dining. They're not big, spacious places. And so what you have is a serve with like 3 or 4 plates. You have to juggle that from the kitchen, through the dining room, outside, through foot traffic to get you your food. And I can tell you right now, if you sit down, you can notice right off the bat who is an experienced server, who is not, who has good core muscle and balance, and who does not. I've seen so many disasters last summer in these patios dining. It is so hard. People tip your server. It is so hard.
What an amazing experience. You're absolutely right. We're in new territory here. The other thing I'm noticing, Tan, is that a lot of these places are set up in parking spaces. And in a city where parking is at a premium, is that what we should be doing? Who's irritated about this? Because I can imagine there are a few people.
Yeah, I think people who drive a lot, they're irritated because they lose your parallel parking space. But people are so bad at parallel parking. I'm more than happy.
They don't deserve the space.
Yeah, exactly. There is a rule, and there is an asterisk in this free patio permit, and that is you have to leave room on the sidewalk for wheelchairs and people who have trouble getting around. And people will say that they are concerned that maybe they don't leave enough room. Another thing that people don't realize is people who are like legally blind. Because what you are seeing now, especially when the weather gets bad, is the canopy. You put umbrellas and canopy overhead. And some people aren't putting it high enough. So if you notice, if you're over 6 feet tall, you might bump into some of these umbrellas. And if you're like legally blind, it could be a challenge. It's an obstacle. And these are things that restaurants are starting to figure out slowly but surely.
It's funny, we're figuring it out, but who knows if it'll stick around, because we're all getting vaccinated right now. I wonder if people will ditch outdoors for indoors. They just want their comfort back. They want their normalcy back.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, Patricia, I think people are going to love the outdoors. I think we're 2 weeks away maybe from just being in shorts and tank tops, and all these patios are going to be packed. I mean, if you go to Ballard on the main bar hopping drag, The wait list is close to 100. Reuben's Brewing, in their beer garden, the wait list last Saturday was over 100 people. And when I went on a Tuesday 3 weeks ago, I could not get a table anywhere in the Ballard Beer District. It was all packed. The wait was just unbelievable. It was over an hour. This was on a Tuesday.
You know, it's funny because we really don't know what all of this means for our culture, whether or not we'll become a city where we're more outdoors, where it's more like a piazza here and there, where we'll be hanging out. Do you see Seattle becoming like a more European-looking city moving forward because of the pandemic?
The two neighborhoods that I think where the patios and the sidewalk works is Ballard, which we're seeing right now, and also Capitol Hill to a certain extent. You have a lot of foot traffic. You have people who just want, a glass of Rainier and just outside, finger food. It works well. It doesn't work well in all the neighborhoods. But we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. It'll be very interesting. But I know some members of City Council and a lot of people are really in support of this. They're trying to make this work.
We are not out of this pandemic yet, but we are becoming a new kind of people after this. We have changed a lot along the way, and I really wonder who we're going to be on the other side, Tan.
Trish, I feel so bad. I feel so guilty because on the one hand, I want to do a PSA to say, hey, people, we're in a pandemic. Not everyone is vaccinated. We don't have herd immunity. Please be careful. And then there's the other part of me is like, hey, I want a rosé. I want to sit outside. I want to feel like I'm in Paris. I'm ready to shed my cabin fever, and I want to catch up and hug people. And so I do have mixed feelings. I do hope we're careful. But like everyone, I'm ready. I'm ready to be out and about.
Tan Vinh, always good to talk to you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Trish.
Seattle Now is produced by Caroline Chamberlain Gomez, Clare McGrane, and Jason Pagano. Matt Jorgensen does our theme music. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you tomorrow.